I'm sorry to interrupt this happy ending. What's that, Rube?
You need to send them home. Tell them we had a water main break.
Water main break?
Yeah, tell them it's not safe to be here.
We need to evacuate the building. You'll have to tabulate votes with no observers while everyone else goes home. Take the professor far, far away from here. And we need you to put Chad with the other domestic terrorists and insurrectionists.
Does anyone notice that the election rigging Biden administration never goes after the riggers, but only after those that want to catch and expose the rigging dogs? They are rigging dogs. They're horrible cheaters and liars.
Greetings and welcome to Winning 2024, because that's what we're out to do. Good afternoon, it is. Or late evening, I guess. Or early evening. I'm not used to being on this early, but I'm happy that you guys are all here. Jacob Peets is driving but listening. Awesome. Great to see you, Jacob. Wolfram, thanks for jumping in early and dropping those links. T-Rex, how's it going? Are you driving and listening too? Are you and Pete's doing the same thing? How's it going? Shelly saying hi to everybody. There she is. All right, and we are off and running. So we're going to do about 30 here on the kickoff show on the YouTube side, and then we're going to do our jump over to Rumble. And we're already jumped. We're going to jump off of YouTube and stay on Rumble and X, which we are on both right now. And we will then show our feature presentation. Guys, I can't tell you how important this one is. Like, it really is. I think you'll enjoy it and you'll learn a lot from it. That's why I wanted to get out in front of this and make sure that we did this one right away as soon as it came out, because it's that good. You're gonna learn a lot about what went on. And oh, look at them already at sustainable. I've already got I have barely said anything and I already have an ad sustainability thing on here. But little do they know, I'm not going to stick around to show the full thing. I'm going to show it over where I don't get pestered about it. Hey, Wolfram, there he is. So yeah, but what we are going to do to warm up for this kickoff show here before we go to the free speech platforms exclusively for the feature presentation, that is. We do that a lot here because we have to. It's just the way it goes. We're going to take a look at some news that came out recently, some ideas about what's going to happen this year as we look back at the previous election and look at the system that they have set up and try to figure out how we're going to prevent this from happening again. Very enlightening stuff. I'm so happy you guys have joined me here this afternoon to be part of it. Bellator, how's it going? I see you. Because we're gonna advance our hey, Russell Wallace Warren, how's it going? Hi, Tron. Tron, I love that movie. So we are going to do that, and we're going to take a look at this real quick as we sit here, and I'll make comments on it. But it's just basically looking at what they're doing with the southern border invasion and how that may affect this year's election, and we want to take a look at that. And I'm going to start it right here. We're going to watch this on 1.5 speed so we can get through it quickly. And I'm going to have the closed captions on as well for this. So, hey, Daisy, there you are. There you are. Yeah, I'm trying. Let's see. I like the wood chick story this morning. Calm, done frogs. What? I don't get it. Help me out with that. Russell, where you from, buddy? Welcome aboard. Happy to see you here. Daisy's gonna be lurking. All right. Well, you picked a good day because you can listen to this stuff and get just as much out of it. But they do have a great presentation for all of it. As the world's least terrorized human. I gotcha. All right, here we go. Let's jump into this right away because I want to make sure that we got plenty of time for the documentary. And I will be posting the links to the free speech platforms we'll be watching the feature on But let's go ahead and take a listen to Redacted and see what they have to say about, let me get my other post here going on, about what's happening this year. They had some very good insights on it. So we'll take an analytical look at this and see what we think. Okay, there you go.
Will be Trump v. Biden once again, and they will do whatever they can to try to stop him. Their main strategy right now, here's what their main strategy will be starting tomorrow officially, to use as many illegal aliens as possible to get Biden reelected. Maybe that's why this Babylon Bee satirical headline hits so hard. Look at this. This is a fake photo, of course, of the Babylon Bee. Safe vote official drop box is being set up at the border in the United States.
Now, the reason, another reason I'm playing this first is because you're going to see how this may correlate into their already set methodology, right? They're already set strategies, methodologies, institutions, all the things that they have set up to make voting go their way, I guess is one way to say it, at least the way that they want to see it done. So just keep that in mind as you watch this right here.
So you can just drop off your official ballot. It's funny because it's true. How many illegal immigrants will it take to get Joe Biden elected in 2024? It turns out not very many. We've looked at the numbers, and Democrats are counting on this strategy to keep Joe Biden in office for another 4 years. President Obama explained it very, very well, I think, that they want us to use illegals to vote, and no one will come for you. Like, if you're illegal, go and vote. If you're an illegal alien, go and vote, according to President Obama. No one will arrest you. As an illegal immigrant, when you vote, you become a citizen, according to Obama. Listen.
Many of the millennials, dreamers, undocumented citizens, and I call them citizens because they contribute to this country, are fearful of voting. So if I vote, will immigration know where I live? Will they come for my family and deport us?
Not true. Okay. And the reason is, first of all, when you vote, you are a citizen yourself. And there is not a situation where the voting role.
That's not true. You have to be a citizen to vote. It's not the other way around. Voting doesn't give you citizenship. You must be a citizen first, then you can vote.
Somehow are transferred over and people start investigating, et cetera. The sanctity of the vote is strictly confidential in terms of who you voted for. If you have a family member who maybe is undocumented, then you have an even greater reason to vote.
Oh, okay. So they don't cross-reference their databases, is what they say.
Liberia.
That's not what Edward
Liberia.
Snowden
Okay,
disclosed.
cool.
No, and you don't have to go back and even affirm that you are a citizen later, which we'll get to in just a moment. So President Obama, he's saying, just go out there and vote. If you're not an American citizen, just go and vote, according to President Obama.
But it also sounds like, what kind of backwater is this that we don't have any way to know who you are? Like, it's basically, we don't know who's voting. It's not that important, right? It's not that.
That's like,
go ahead.
Not only can you vote, we're going to just give you $10,000 as well, you know. And I have my feelings about the election system and the 2020 election and all that stuff. But like, if you look at like the official numbers that they put forward saying how many votes Biden actually won by, it's only like couple 100,000 votes. So there's been 10 million, I believe, at this point, immigrants that have come into the country so far. Yeah. So 100,000 isn't that many out of that many people.
No, because if you think of it in large terms, right, you just think of like 10 million, right, that have come across the border, 7,000 just yesterday, as Bill Malugin from Fox News reported down there at the border. Just think of it, you think about the grand number, right, 10 million. But when you start to break it down by state, and then you start to break it down by district, and you start to think where this falls electorally, it's a different math number, right? Because then you really need to focus on, which we'll get to in a moment, like Arizona and Texas, specific purple states that they want to turn blue, and that's been the strategy all along. So Democrats right now are pulling out all the stops to make sure that you can vote.
And they always will.
Country you're in,
and that's the
even using the power of the Justice Department to do it. Yes, the DOJ to make this happen. So this weekend we got our clearest sign yet that the next election will be a disaster, right from the mouth of Attorney General Merrick Garland. This man, of course, is in charge of the Justice Department, which is a department that is supposed to uphold.
And just keep this in mind. This entire stream from start to finish is about election integrity. So it's all wrapped in together.
Justice and law and order. According to new data, Black and Hispanic voters are leaving the Democratic Party in droves.
Yes, we've gone over that a lot here.
Exactly. So what does the Biden administration do? They're on damage control, right? So what do? We've got to get one of our people. We've got to send them down to a church in Selma, Alabama. Merrick Garland, are you doing anything this weekend? Okay, go down to Selma, Alabama, go to a Black church and stand in front of those people, use them as props and totally pander to those people. We need you. America needs you to go down and pander to Black people in Selma, Alabama right now, telling them it's racist to use an ID to vote. And he has made it his mission, he told this group of churchgoers, to make sure that this doesn't happen. Listen.
The right to vote is still under attack. And that is why the Justice Department is fighting back. That is why one of the first things I did when I came into office was to double the size of the voting section of the Civil Rights Division. That is why we are challenging efforts by states and jurisdictions to implement discriminatory, burdensome, and unnecessary restrictions on access to the ballot, including those related to mail-in voting, the use of drop boxes, and voter ID requirements.
Hold on. You guys see that? So if you're on Discord and you get a friend request from someone named Big Laura, don't click on it. Well, evidently, it's causing problems for our friend Wolfram. So, yeah, be careful of that, guys.
That is why we are working to block the adoption of discriminatory redistricting plans.
Listen to this.
That dilute the vote of Black voters.
The discriminatory redistricting plans that dilute the vote of the Black voters. How's that? We're all people. We're all supposed to be voting together. It doesn't matter what color we are. And that's the thing. Again, they're injecting race as a divisive way to keep people split up and keep people in that color frame of mind, like where everything has to be about a color and not just about where you're from or who you are as a person.
And other voters of color.
Of
Maybe he
color,
was expecting
color,
some big applause
color.
right there.
We did that on Repairing History together, that show I used to do not too long ago. Playlists are out there, but we talked about how color is the real problem in it. You know, when they turned race into color, it became very divisive, and it was something that was never done before until this country and then so on. So it became and people have been tribal, of course. And you know, your country, you're going to look a lot like the people from your country, of course, right? But to turn race into color, and then to exasperate that, where we are just like checkerboard pieces or chessboard pieces, just the black, the white, the red checker piece, you know, whatever you want to call it, or chess piece. You know, this is where the divisiveness, this is the methodology of the divisiveness in there. And they're still, they go up with the highest levels and use this divisive methodology in order to divide us and keep us at each other's throat. And of course, Merrick Garland right here is using fear. He's using fear. You know, oh my God, the white man is diluting the black vote. Like it's one thing. Like it's the black vote is just one thing. It's not.
After those comments, but there was no applause, to be honest with you. And I watched the whole speech. There was no applause after that line. Go
That's good. That's good. So the folks in that church knew. They know, man. That's the other thing that the establishment does not realize, is that the black folks do know. They really think little of them in terms of their ability to process reality. They do know, they do catch on, and they obviously didn't respond to this very well.
David,
I mean, he always said, we know you people can't get IDs. And they're like, who are you calling you people?
Yeah,
right. That's like the whole thing. They can't get IDs. They don't know where the DMV is. They don't know where to go to get IDs. That's ludicrous.
That's race scripting.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can't find a way to get an identification in this country. Apparently, not at all. So, what's weird about that whole thing is, you know, he's speaking to a group of people who overwhelmingly don't support what he's saying. In fact, the data bears this out, because 3/4 of black voters support, 3/4 of black individuals that have been polled support using an ID to vote. 75%. Look at that number on your screen. 75%. Yes, it is the lowest of all the groups, but still 75%. That's 3/4. And then overall, 8 in 10 Americans with a brain support using an ID to vote in elections.
That's a lot of racists.
Look at that graph.
Yeah.
Look at that graph right there. Look at that. Just real quick. I'll slow it down. But look at that. This is how many people support having IDs. So where's the pushback coming from? Oh, the people who want the elections to go the way they want them to go, right? How could they ever possibly believe this? It's because people don't have charts like this. They don't get the information that are in the first veil, and lock into that establishment narrative. They don't get this type of information.
Those racists right there that think it's irrelevant to use an ID to vote. That's an overwhelming number. Democrats have openly admitted that they can shift purple states away from Republicans towards Joe Biden, and they can do so easily by using illegal immigrants with no voter identification. Democrat Jerry Nadler of New York is just one Democrat who openly admitted during a committee hearing, we want illegal immigrants to vote.
That's not true. The New York City Council voted in December to allow this. It begins January 9, 2023. Cities in Vermont and Maryland already allow this, and similar measures are under consideration in Illinois, Maine, and Massachusetts right now.
The gentleman with you?
Yes.
I believe those are considerations of allowing votes in municipal elections only.
Right, but thank you. That's the point. Everybody wants to know at home, why would they allow this? Guys, they're allowing it because they're going to turn them into voters. They already are doing this in New York City, largest city in America, and this is the plan of our friends on this side to turn all the illegals into voters. That's it, folks. That's what's going on. That's the game. That's why the border's open. That's why they've dropped it. Look, I respect Ms. Loughran and all her work in this arena. Yes, I'll yield, Mr. Chairman. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this.
As a New Yorker, I would love to think that New York is the entire country, but it is not. It is not. And consideration is being given to permitting non-citizens to vote in New York, and I believe in the capital city of Vermont. I forget which that is. But it, as much as I'd like to believe it, New York and Vermont are not the entire country.
But Mr. Chairman, that's the whole point.
Doesn't matter.
This is what's going on, folks, at home. If you're trying to figure this out, if you're scratching your heads, you're seeing the video, you see droves of people, 2.4 million people coming over the border illegally. The president allowing, the Democrats in charge of Congress are allowing it. The deal is they're going to turn them into voters. You just heard it. They don't have any problem with that. They celebrate it. Here's the deal.
I mean, that's not a point just because it's only in those two places.
Right.
And we like it, but that doesn't mean it's going to keep happening. If you can sell it, it is.
The only two places that we found right? The only two places that got brought up during the committee hearing. Like how many other places is it actually happening? Is it sort of the unwritten rule that's not been codified? It's not been mentioned in front of some committee hearing, right? So Democrats
and it's outright what AOC said when she was talking about the problem of undocumented immigrants was just document them.
Gutters,
it's just a, you know, it's a bureaucratic holdup.
Shelley.
and you've got people that are going to be voting based only on the fact that, hey, Democrats gave me $10,000. So they have no, like they're uneducated voters. They have no idea about the other party.
That's it. That's if they're going to turn these people into voters and they're giving them $10,000. That's buying a vote. In my opinion, it is at least. I think. Do you guys see it the same way?
They have no idea about anything, but it's like, hey, they gave me $10,000. They let me in this country. They're putting me up in 4-star hotels. Yeah, I'll vote Democrat.
I would have to think it's less subtle than that. It's more outright. There must be some kind of paperwork telling them. Like, I don't know this for a fact.
Well,
I
don't know the paperwork, but I mean, they know this strategy works, and they know giving out these cell phones to David's point works. Giving out tens of thousands of dollars in free money, free food, free housing. They'll vote for you. They will vote for you. Listen, as illegal immigrants are asked why they're voting. It's all about Biden, they say.
¿Tiene derecho para votar? Entramos ilegal, por lo menos tenemos acceso a votar. ¿Para quién se va a votar?
John Biden, que nos está ayudando a nosotros aquí.
Yo creo que la mayoría
Biden. Él es el que nos está ayudando por Biden.
Biden. Por supuesto que por Biden. Estamos a apoyar a los migrantes. Sí, es muy buena persona. No, Trump es otra cosa, ese es otra cosa y este es otra cosa.
So, I mean, why don't they stop and say, well, how do you feel about him sniffing the hair of young children that aren't his, groping young girls? How do you feel about that? Do you still want to vote for that?
So look no further than Texas, though, and Arizona, where as of this morning, Trump holds a roughly 4-point vote. These are the latest numbers this morning, 4-point lead in polling in Texas, okay? Democrats desperately want to turn Texas into a blue state. One way to do that is with illegal immigrants. To David's point earlier, you don't need many of them to tip the scales purple and then blue. To Texas to become a blue state, voting for Biden in this 2024 election. And
it's
Arizona,
be
it's a little bit wider, 7-point polling advantage over Biden there. Trump has a 7-point lead. Again, these numbers are very close. And then when you consider the margin of error, they get even closer, down like 4 points, right? So again, you don't need very many illegals to vote and tip the scales in your direction. In Arizona, by the way, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you already know the rhetoric that's going to start around this. Anybody who doesn't support the illegal immigrants voting, you're a racist, you're a bigot. I mean, I can already see the propaganda coming out from Biden. These Republicans don't want them to vote. They're racist. They think people should go back to their country, yada, yada.
Oh, yeah, of course. In fact, Mayorkas has come out and said, we really don't want to use the term illegal immigrant anymore. And we really should outlaw it. We really shouldn't use that term anymore.
Non-citizen.
Non-citizen. So in Arizona, you do not need proof of citizenship to vote. Did you know that? When you cast your ballot,
you do
mail in your ballot. This is right from Arizona's website. If you want to go
to your hair, you're going to love this.
You can print out the forms yourself and see them. So a person is not required to submit proof of citizenship with the voter registration form that you fill out. But a failure to do so means the person will only be eligible to vote in federal elections, known as being a, quote, federal-only voter. So, you don't prove you're a citizen. Sorry, you do not get to vote in municipal elections, school board elections, sheriff elections, but you do get to vote for president of the United States. You do get to vote in federal elections.
Right? Okay. Why not?
So go ahead. Show up, mail it in. No proof necessary. Doesn't matter. Instructions on the federal election process. Here, I love this. Right from the federal elections website process here, the application instructions, put your home address there. Don't use a post office box. Okay, yeah, that's right. Don't use a post office box. If you live in a rural area but do not have a street address, or if you have no address, please show where you live using the map in box C. You can literally drop a pin on a random spot in box C.
Okay.
Date of birth. Make sure you put your birth order there. Be careful not to use today's date for your birth date. Okay? And then here's my favorite. Hold on. And here's my favorite. Box 6 is ID number. Federal law requires that states collect from each registrant an identification number. You must refer to your state-specific instructions for item 6 regarding that. If you have neither a driver's license nor a social security number, please indicate this on the form, and a number will be assigned to you by your state. So on your form, you can say, I don't have a number. Give me a number. And I can only vote in federal elections. Go ahead, David.
I was going to say, this just opens it up. Like, you could literally take a whole busload of people and put them in, like, just tons of buses of people and just go state to state to state and vote.
Yeah.
Right. Someone in the chat here, a silver dollar outlaw, says, why is no one trying to stop this?
Oh, well, I refer you to the interview that Tucker Carlson did with Attorney General Ken Paxton from Texas, where he speaks specifically about how attorneys generals at various states have been forbidden by the Biden administration to litigate elections. Full stop. He doesn't explain why. He says this is one of the things that we have been litigating for decades, right? It's not something new since we started screaming about election fraud since 2016. It's something attorneys generals have always been up to, but for some reason, the Biden administration has put the kibosh on it. Now, I didn't bring that clip. I wish I had, but it's a fantastic interview, and I refer you to it.
So of course they can't do this alone. They need the help of the mainstream media, and they need the help of the mainstream media to pull off this charade. MSNBC though is there to help. Yep. If you want someone to carry the water for the Biden administration, MSNBC is right there for you. They've come up with a new term to describe someone who is angry about illegal immigrants destroying the United States.
That was Shelley that gave you that.
Label you a racist. They're going to come up with some other moniker for you. And they have. Because if you vote for Donald Trump, you have white rural rage. White rural rage. Say that 5 times.
It doesn't
fast.
roll off the tongue.
That's like that 30 Rock, the rural juror.
It's when, Jenna's in a movie called The Rural Juror.
And they're like, why is this movie no one going to this movie? It's because no one can pronounce it.
No, it's because she's been working on the movie for years, and they're like, we don't know what it's called. We can't understand her, but it's been too long, and now we can't ask. It's like a friend who you haven't asked the question.
The name, yeah.
The Rural Juror.
So anyway, if you vote for Donald Trump, you have white rural rage.
Yeah,
seriously,
new
that's what they're
term,
calling it now.
guys.
You live in the suburbs and you're angry. You have
new
white
term.
rural rage. Watch.
Joining us now, Professor of Political Science at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, Tom Schaller, and journalist and opinion writer Paul Waldman. Their new book, out tomorrow, is entitled White Rural Rage, The Threat to American Democracy. And Tom, I'll start with you. Why are white rural voters a threat to democracy at this point? You would think, as we pointed out, looking at Joe Biden's background and Donald Trump's, that the opposite would be true.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this. We provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism, and scientific skepticism.
Establishment tool.
So, and I'm also going to say, and these guys, they watch Redacted on YouTube. I guarantee you, these guys watch Redacted. So
you know what those guys are? I have two things to say about that. One is an important grammar. Something that bothers me a lot when people say entitled about a book. A book is titled. A person is entitled. It means you think you are owed certain things. So do not use titled for entitled. I hate that. Also, those people are East Coast media elites. Can we write a book about them and speak down about them? That's all I got.
So what I was going to say, I just want to point out really quick, we've got all this propaganda now on the news. I look for this to be the next guideline issue that we're going to be fighting against with YouTube. I guarantee we'll probably, because of this, like what we're saying right now, will probably not be allowed very soon.
So what David's referring to is YouTube has their terms of service, which they update every few months, and they add things to it, things that you're not allowed to say, things that they will strike your channel for, and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, maybe they did it with COVID. They've done it with the election. They continue to do it over a number of Ukraine, a couple of big issues. They just add these things in there. So did those guys point, the rural white guys? So you're a xenophobic racist if you care about the integrity of your country and a free and fair election. You're xenophobic. You're a racist. You're what's wrong with this country, apparently. Maybe it just comes down to dollars and cents, rising crime, crushing costs to deal with these illegal immigrants. Maybe they're not racist. Maybe they just have common sense. According to The Hill, first, the vast majority of illegal immigrants don't have government-provided work permits, and it could take years before they get them, if they ever get them. Yet their expenses start immediately. They need food, shelter, transportation, clothing. Many will need healthcare, all of which cost a lot of money, as the mayors of New York City, and Chicago have recently come to realize. So is Eric Adams a racist for saying that New York City can't handle it anymore? Is Democrat Kathy Hochul of New York a xenophobic racist for saying New York is being crushed?
Black urban rage.
Yeah, he's black urban rage. He's an angry black man.
You can't say that, Howard Stern.
Guess we can't say that either. What can we say these days in 2024? I don't know. He's angry. He's black. That makes him an angry black man. Here's a concerned white woman, though, in Denver, Colorado. Denver, Colorado is getting, this woman, by the way, just watch her. She's so xenophobic and racist, and she has so much white rural rage bubbling up inside of her that I almost had to look away. She talks about how Denver is collapsing under the weight of illegal immigrants and warns that her way of life is being ruined. And she talks about this as a tsunami that's coming to America. Just listen to her white rural rage. It's almost hard to listen to. She's so loud.
I'm here to speak on behalf of the poor, the elderly, who are struggling because of the issues that you deal with and how you deal with them. So we're talking about a thing that's going to navigate people. I took a look at some figures, and I figured some people here ought to hear them. If we look at Denver with 40,000 immigrants, and we think that they cost $1,000 a month for housing, it's going to be $480 million for 1 year. That's just $1,000, and I don't think you can get housing for that. If you feed those people 40,000 at $200 a month per person, I don't think that's possible today. If any of you have gone to the grocery store, that's 96 million in a year. We are headed for a tsunami. I don't think you know what you're heading at. The total of that, $576 million. Your budget, if I am correct, and I Googled it, I might be wrong, is only $72 million. I ask you how you think you're going to afford it. Now, I'm not sure I'm correct on all those numbers, but they're pretty close. Now, personally, I live on a budget of $30,000. My husband was a school teacher, and I worked for Jefferson County, and I had a disability, and we had to quit. We had our advisors, and they assured us that we were going to have enough money to survive. Well, I'll tell you how I survive on $30,000. You have done such wonderful work with your housing that you have caused my taxes to go up to $4,000. Oops, I'm getting really close. $3,000 for insurance, $3,000 for my car, $10,000 extra. Take that out, and I live on $20,000. Now, I have to go to get clothing from the Goodwill. Now I'm so poor I have to repair the clothing. I go to the food bank, and I'll tell you what I see. I see immigrants coming in, jostling and pushing us out as they cut line, take more food than they're required to do, and our poor staff that deals with those things are out of their ever-loving mind trying to figure out how they're going to handle it. Yeah. You ask how I'm coping? For God's sakes, help me.
Oh, bless her. You know, the thing is, that I was reading today, The Canceling of the American Mind, a fantastic book, a sequel to the Greg Lukianoff book. And they were talking about how it's so fun, for liberals to poke fun at white people because they feel like it's a reckoning, that white people have had it so good that they can take it. But specifically, when you look at whites, they are responsible for large percentages of what we call now the deaths of despair, deaths of depression, alcoholism, drug use, right? So this is not really a population that it's fun to poke at, white people. There are real people. I know that's so shocking. Real people with real problems who have never oppressed anybody before, who have never, like, does that lady look like she's been coasting on white privilege? Really? You know, and so it's not funny. And it's not like this social reckoning to punch at white people. The way that liberals think that it is, and the people who say that are an insular middle class societies or above.
How you doing, man?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So she's filled with white rural rage, and she should be ashamed of just trying to live.
Speaking of white rural rage, I wanted to show you this clip again. We watched this. It's been a month or two ago, maybe now. We saw this. We played this clip many times, but it goes right along just to show you the predictive power of certain individuals. It's going right along with what we're seeing right here. Just real quick clip from the Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones interview.
And even though I'm conscious of this, even though I know this, it's still at a DNA level. I'm like, I got to go to the country. I got to get out of here. I've got to separate myself from this. But then when they release this toxic cultural poisonous gas, they push us out of those areas and they get the main infrastructure to then organize that, cut off the food and supplies to that group they have, and then tell them, the reason you're doing bad is not BlackRock and the WF and Bill Gates. It's all those evil people in the countryside. They're all white supremacists and terrorists and racists. Let's go get them. Because the last group they don't control is rural people that are self-sufficient. And so I get...
There you go. So yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there. It's
her life, and then she should have some media elites in New York City write a book about her white rural rage. I wonder why she might or may not. I know how she's going to vote, right? But this is their problem.
And just like, think about how many, like my town that I live in right now, those people just deemed a racist town. Think of all the rural areas, these little towns in the middle of nowhere that they just said, they're all racist. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is like the basket of deplorables by, Hillary Clinton all over again, right? It's the flyover country. It's all of the, it's all of the derision you can think of for these people.
I will say that because we worked for the media, Clayton and I, and we, could have been classified as media elites at one time. And I did buy this basket of deplorables line about, I probably would have liked this 10 years ago, white rural rage. Like, oh yeah, this is a reckoning for white privilege. I'm sure I would have bought that shit. But then when I visit family in West Virginia and I sit with, my aunts and uncles who may be accused of this, I felt ashamed of myself. Like, what do I know about their life? That's no place for me, someone who lives in New York City, to say anything about them. And those people, I have to think, who were on MSNBC about this book would feel ashamed sitting at a dinner table with this lady. I have to surmise that would be true.
I really hope you enjoyed watching this video. YouTube thinks that you'll actually...
All right. So I hope you guys got a lot out of that. That's what we're seeing. Again, we've been talking about it for months on the channel. A lot of it's over on Rumble, of course, but you can check it out here. I do have playlists on Rumble now, so if you check the playlist tab, you can go in there and find things a little bit easier. I should do a whole playlist just for the immigration, the invasion stuff, and of course here on Winning 2024, what we're going to be discussing is everything elections. It's about winning 2024. Anything that goes around that topic, you'll find with this thumbnail, right? So I'm going to try to keep things kind of segmented in that way. So it's easier for you to find. Let me stop sharing that. All right. So we're right at 29 minutes. We're on schedule, guys. We're on schedule. Let me, the only thing I haven't done yet, I need to do this really quick here. Copy, paste. All right, good. There we go. Those are the free speech platform links for today's show. So we're going to be leaving YouTube now and going to kick off our feature presentation, which is Let My People Go. Guys, I can't tell you how important this documentary is. You're going to understand what the hell happened in 2020 after you watch it. It's a very in-depth, very well-researched piece. And we'll do some analysis on it. I'm watching it for the second time today, so maybe I'll catch some new things, but also I want you guys to really participate. Let me know what you think, good, bad, or indifferent. Just put it out there and we'll do it. But for now, and hey, MLS, I hope you have a Rumble account because we're going to Rumble. Russell, I hope you have a Rumble account because we're going over to Rumble now and X, where we can't be harassed for our content or the music that's in it. Okay. All right, guys, here we go. I will see you on the other side. And for YouTube, I'll see you next time.
Man, everyone's tensed up for a Rumble.